It's 10 o'clock Mountain Time. Time for Tom and Shane, No Business in Politics. Topic today, how much of your hard-earned money is the government wasting? Man, we got to talk about that, Shane, because they waste a ton of our hard-earned tax money. But before we do that, before we start, we'll remind you, this is going to be our last podcast at 10 a.m. In the morning. We're going to move to 5 p.m. next week. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m., ring the notification bell. You'll always be notified when we're on. And so we'll see you then. But today we've got to talk about government wasting. Shane, where do we start with the government waste?
Well, I guess we can start with the amount. I mean, it is ridiculous. And it's in excess of basically, $1 billion a day.
Oh, yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's interesting because you can go to Audit Reporter 97-15A. It's on the government website, and they'll give you the daily, the daily Treasury statement. For instance, on the 16th of February, it tells you like right down to the total general account. Had 13 billion. Department of Agriculture, they paid 27 billion. Like this in one day.
Mm-hmm.
And Department of Commerce got 12 billion. Department of Education, 87 billion. And you just read through it, and the numbers are staggering. So it's not that it's just small numbers, but it's a reflection of the whole creation of this infrastructure your federal government created, over 100 years ago with the Federal Reserve and income tax.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a government that can build a military and build highways and everything unless they collect taxes somehow.
Yeah.
And this is, the call it a capitalist tax, call it innovative capitalism. The 20th century turned into the century of massive growth and production of a federal government because of the taxes they collected. So as long as they can collect these trillions of dollars, they're able to create and support everything that they do, from education to the military and so forth. And we know from history, you just have to go back to the Romans. You can go back earlier, even the Egyptians and in the French, and the English. And you can see how these great empires, basically, even in Turkey, the great empires, how they collapsed, and they basically collapsed on the inability to fund the immense operation or infrastructure they created. For example, this whole thing about warmongering with Russia and China. It's ridiculous. Let Russia and China get to be big buddies. Let them go out and build the world. Let them go out and put military bases wherever they want. Who cares? Let them pay for it. We've done it for 70 years. Look what it's gotten us. Nowhere. It's gotten us nowhere. And we're important to everyone in the world because we're the only consuming economy. We're the only one with a large enough and on the scale of Europe and Asia, I mean, it's not that big. It's, talking about 250 million people that have disposable income and buy over 40% to 60%, depending on what it is, of the world's products.
Yeah.
So, it's one of these things you look at and you have to appreciate the numbers and look at it all.
Yeah. Let's look at a couple numbers, Shane. First of all, federal government collects $5 trillion in taxes last year, $15,098 per person. They spent $19,434 per person. And what about those Trump tax cuts? Well, federal government increased 14.3% in their taxes in 2022 after collecting more personal income taxes, payroll taxes, Social Security, and all of those things. And because of the COVID, federal spending decreased 12% because the COVID relief packages and stimulus stuff went away. Those were retired, and So the federal government spent 28.7 more than it collected in 2022. That's a 1.45 trillion-dollar deficit. So, these are numbers that don't don't give people a lot of confidence in government.
Well, they shouldn't. The great sadness is the incompetency and corruption of education. I mean, it's a great one to use. We know, depending on where you are, what inner city, between $16,000 and $18,000 a year is spent on each child to be educated, and yet you have cities like in Baltimore. A report came out 2 weeks ago that fifth graders can't read or even do simple math.
Yeah.
People are leaving, grade school and going into middle school, junior high, unable to read, write, or do arithmetic. I mean, that's what it was: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And the government and the infrastructure of unions and teachers and administrators are so incompetent that their response to this is, instead of helping the child, just move them along. We don't want this problem.
Yeah,
we don't want them in the third. Yeah, we don't want them in the third grade for 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the stories 30 years ago, as I'm sure you did, of kids that that's what they did, because that's the way it did work for our generation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you couldn't pass, you couldn't.
Yeah. There were a couple kids in my first or second grade that had to take it over again, and they were behind, and got to high school, they were 2 years older than I was.
That's right. I mean, I started
if they made it to 16, and if they made it 16, they usually quit.
That's right. I like telling this story because it's relevant to what we're talking about. But I was in Billings. I went to Poly Drive. I went to first grade. Mrs. Chestnut sat down with my parents, and she said, "We've got to hold Shane back." Well, why? Well, he just doesn't seem to be paying attention, and he can't read, and his writing is good, and he does good math, but he doesn't seem much interested in reading. So my parents said, "Well, what can we do?" And she said, "Well, you could put him in Eastern Montana College. They have a summer school there," and so they put me in the summer school. I was there 5 days, and the teacher realized that I was bored. I wasn't. I was reading on a seventh grade level. I mean, I was coming in with books about Churchill and biographies, about presidents, and I was sitting there reading it, and everyone's remember what was it? Tom, look at Tom jump, and what was the name of the dog? I can't even remember.
Dick and Jane.
Dick and Jane, and they had a dog that jumped or whatever.
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in Dick and Jane. I was interested. I was reading classics by the time I was 6, 7 years old. So anyway, that solved that problem. And then there was a big discussion of, well, we should move them to third grade. No, we don't.
Don't do that. No, don't do that.
My parents did ask me, and I said, no, I want to be ahead of everyone. I don't want to be, I'd rather be ahead of everybody. Than
I was a college freshman at 17. So no, it was not good. So, well, some other things.
But you got a scholarship for basketball, right?
Well, I did at 17. Yeah,
I know.
That's why I say I was a freshman.
Rah, you.
Yeah.
You got to jump on everyone a year early on the babes and the fraternities and the cheerleaders. I mean,
I did not.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. Let me tell you about the situation. The football players showed up a month before school started, and so did the Rangerettes. They were all taken by the time I got there.
Yeah, no, too many. There's just as many women that love short and stocky that enjoy tall and slim. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I was in college too. I was in a fraternity. A fraternity. So yeah, no, you can't scallywag this, buddy.
Okay.
You're the eagle man. You were out there flying around the campus.
Yeah. All right.
You had those big. Now, did you wear the low flapped runners or the tall flaps for basketball?
Low.
Yeah. I had to wear the tall ones because I had a problem with my ankles, but I was a swimmer, I tried to do gymnastics, but too much
Yeah.
danger there. I did that. But
Yeah.
then I enjoyed swimming, and then I got really good at diving. So ended up going on to University of Colorado from Thomas Jefferson
Oh,
in Denver with 50 AP points for my
yeah.
record. So I was already in with with college points,
Yeah.
and then
Getting back to our topic
that's
of the
boring.
day.
We covered it already.
We have not.
Yeah, we have it.
I covered it.
Talking about this is a lot more fun.
In 2022, state and local governments accounted for 41% of government spending. 33% of that 41 was set by the feds
Yeah,
for food stamps and every other,
it was a
uh,
rebate.
whatever thing we've got. But we also need to talk a little bit about the debt, because the national debt, that was 30 trillion last year. It's 31.7 now, but that's only 7% of everything we take in, Shane. It's only 483 billion. And if you want to put that in perspective, we spend less than that on Social Security.
That's right.
418 billion on Social Security, 689 billion. 10% of the federal government goes to Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah, if you add up unfunded things like Social Security and retirement funds for government workers, and
Mm-hmm.
it's $95 trillion.
Yeah.
So I mean that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an outstanding number because sovereign debt, meaning the debt of countries like yours. I mean, the total amount in the world is 78.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting close to half. I mean,
We are, yeah.
4 months ago you were half, but it's climbed so much because everyone else is,
Yeah. Well, some of it's come down because of COVID, but yeah, the total government, and the good thing is it's held by us, Shane. We own 19 trillion of it, and so 97% is held by us. We owe it to ourselves.
That's right.
We don't owe it. We don't owe it to foreign countries. We don't owe it to other entities or whatever. So it's just us. So
yeah, no one has any. Nobody has a hold on you, including China. With this ridiculous bobblehead notion that China owes the United States, or now they're saying Japan, because they've got over $1 trillion of your debt. China has 900 billion. But the point is that when you look at the top 10 economies in the world, it's something that's startling. It's the United States, China. Mm-hmm. Japan's third, then Germany, and then the United Kingdom, India. Now China we know has 1.4 billion. Japan's got 120 million. Germany's got 60 or 72 million. The United Kingdom 69. India's 102 million, and they're number 5 or 6. And then France is only.
I thought India was over 1 billion.
It is over 1 billion, about 1 billion too. In population, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm just saying, so United States, China, Japan, Germany, England, India, France, and then Italy. Italy's a little tiny boot with 68 million people living in it. I mean, I guess they couldn't get that many people in a tree. So
it's wine. It's wine out of Italy.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's what it is.
They do a lot of. They do a lot of whining. They do.
Yeah, that's true. They do. So. All right, so.
But it's interesting because when you take into account these 7 countries, it makes up over 90% of the global GDP. 90%. Yeah. So there's 69, 70 countries in the world. So it's almost, well, it's a remarkable reality that 8 countries have that much influence. But that's what's happened with the party. I mean, it's basically a party. Everybody sits at a table, and they have this back and forth. But it's really consumption. Now, I believe that the real competitor to the United States in the next 70 years, and Canada, because we'll get tighter and tighter. But our biggest competitor in the next 70 years will be India. It's not going to be China. China's it's falling off a cliff. I mean, it's
Well, the only thing holding India back is their infrastructure is not up to speed, so they can't move stuff as fast as
that's right.
we can
That's
in the
right.
U.S. and
And
Canada.
it's so
Yeah.
the cost is so incredible.
Mm.
The thing about infrastructure is the economy, right? The
Oh
economy of
yeah.
cost.
Mhm.
That and the other is the what do you call it? The different levels of bias in India
The
with
caste
the
system.
caste
Yeah.
system.
Mhm.
It was supposed to be abolished in '49 when they
Yeah.
became the largest democracy in the world and have their own
Mhm.
constitution.
Old
But the
habits die hard.
but the caste system that's been there for 7,000, 8,000 years
Hmm.
still exists.
Still
So
there. Yeah.
you talk about, everybody talks about racism in the United States. Oh my God!
Oh yeah. That's pretty racist there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
If you're born into poverty, you're pretty well going to stay there,
yeah.
whether
That's
you
right.
have abilities or not.
I mean,
Don't.
Japan is about as racist as you get. There are no
Mhm.
Korans in the country. Won't let them in.
Yeah.
They search
Yeah.
for them
Mhm.
with everybody. You can't rent to them. You can't give a Muslim a job. You can't rent
Mhm.
a home to them, and you can't rent property or sell them property. Now, the only reason anyone other than Japanese are there is because of embassies,
Mhm.
and that's it.
Yeah. Pretty
And
much.
most of the people
Mhm.
that are there, working in embassies, live, on the embassy
Mhm.
grounds because they can't
Mhm.
rent or own anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's
Well.
just an example. I mean,
Yeah.
Germans are pretty racist,
Well, the other
but
thing.
India is the worst.
Yeah, but the other thing about Japan is they've got a vastly aging economy.
Oh yeah,
They're an old economy, or old
hmm
people, I should say.
that's
They're not
correct.
producing kids in
Nope.
a fast fashion. So being locked up like that, that's going to take its toll here when these people start kicking off and their population starts dropping. And so yeah, it's going
Yeah,
to be tough for them.
55% of the males are impotent. In the middle of COVID, 2020, first
Mhm.
year that less than a million babies were born in Japan. So,
Yeah.
literally by demographics,
Mhm.
they're at 1.2. I mean,
Yeah.
you need
You need
2.0
two at
or
least, or
at
yeah.
least to maintain it, or immigration, which they
Hmm.
don't allow.
Yeah.
So, in 50, 60 years, they'll be gone, like
Yeah.
as a nation, like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
120 million that are around, they'll all be dead.
Yeah, pretty pretty much so.
So back
Well,
to what you were talking about,
yeah, mhm,
why do we spend this much? My
yeah,
feeling is the proper approach to this
mhm,
is your government, my government should just say no more foreign aid. China,
yeah,
Russia,
mhm,
it's all yours, boys.
yep, take it,
Go to it. Take care of the world. Go
yeah,
out there, be the
mhm,
policemen, be the builders, rebuild all these countries. You're just
yeah, go
galley up.
for it.
Open the barn door and let the horse out.
Yeah, that's for that's for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've never understood spending money to finance people that hate us. Uh, I mean, it makes no sense.
Well,
But
how does a president on President's Day go to another country to give him 500 billion when there's an incredible train wreck in his
yeah,
country?
mhm.
No one died, God
Well,
willing,
not yet
but
anyway, but they will.
in the next 10 or 15 years, I
Yeah,
excuse me for using the expression, people will be dropping like flies,
yeah,
and we
mhm,
know that already.
mhm.
It's one of these things that everybody looks at it and goes, I mean, who, like, what are their priorities? Well, we know what they are, right?
Yeah. Well, the problem is, setting the thing on fire is the dumbest thing to do, I guess. I mean, you got to get rid of it somehow, and fire's the easiest way, I guess. But the ramifications of that down the road, they're going to have a press conference, I think, Thursday afternoon, which is today. They found the wheel bearing that broke off and saw it on some kind of surveillance video from
Yeah, they have,
somewhere.
yeah.
So they've got it to examine and look at and whatever. But I mean, even if Buttigieg went there, even if FEMA went there, even if everybody went there, uh, once that stuff's in the water, it's in the land, it's in the soil. What's Buttigieg going to do? What's FEMA
Yeah,
going to do? What's
it,
what are these people going to? What's the EPA going to do? Nothing.
that's right.
Not much they can do.
that
done.
chemicals are terrible because they're
Yeah.
so quickly absorbed. It's not
Oh, yeah.
like oil where it floats or you can literally see it, and gather it
Yeah.
up.
Hmm.
This you can't gather it up, you can't filter it. It's got to be naturally
Yeah.
filtered through sand, or
Hmm. Yeah.
or earth, or diluted
Hmm.
away. But the initial explosion and the dust and everything,
Oh, yeah.
it's really bad. So back to spending. So let's look at this.
Hmm.
You spent over $3 trillion at the Department of Education, which has been around for 7 years. So cancel it and just return the money to the states,
Amen to
because
that.
the whole infrastructure is
Hmm.
unfortunately like the rest of your education. They're just paying administrators. They're not really caring about the kids.
Mm.
And then you've got this labor department. Well, there's no unions left. I mean, the labor department was created to sort of oversee the protection of people in
Workers.
industry and workers,
Yeah.
and that's already being dealt with by other agencies that are actually doing the
Yeah, I
work.
was going to say wage and hour laws, take
Yeah,
care of most of the abuse. And I've always thought about this: a teachers' union, or private unions, which are, like Walmart or someplace like that. Uh, to increase workers' pay, Walmart can bring in new products, or they can, you know, uh, they've got the power to increase their profits to pay people. Um, the only way you can pay people in a public union is raise taxes on the people.
that's right.
That's the only
That's
way.
all you can do. So
So
and we know this.
hang on,
Oh yeah.
why does the teachers union need protection from me?
Well, you are pretty
Am
big
I
though.
going to exploit them? Is
Well,
that my is that my
yeah,
goal?
yeah, but you can step on someone pretty good. I mean, you're a big guy, so I mean,
Well, okay, yeah,
you walk in the room, that's going to intimidate anybody. I don't care how big the principal of the school is.
yeah, okay, yeah,
But you
all
look,
right,
there's 24 members, 25 including the vice president on the president's cabinet.
hmm
15 department heads and 9 cabinet members, require Senate confirmation. The others are just appointed by the president. But
hmm
underneath them, when you go and look at each different department, there's 42 levels of administration.
oh
42
yeah,
levels. I mean,
yeah,
sub cabinet, members or heads, and
yeah,
assistant
hmm
attorney general of this and that, and assistant secretary of state, and on and on and on. All these
hmm
things, someone's got to take a hatchet to all of it
yeah,
and get rid of all this administrative
hmm
middle that it's just billions, literally billions and billions of
yeah,
salaries and
oh
waste
yeah,
and traveling and expenses and food, and
mm,
it's a princely life, let's say.
yeah. There you are. Well, we've talked ad nauseum on the radio and here about auditing the various agencies. Trump signed an executive order back when he was president back in 2017, I think, to audit all these agencies, but it never happened. I
That's
mean,
right.
never. Who's going to do it, and what's it going to cost? And that just went by the wayside. So, but you're right. If we could audit all these agencies, and they certainly don't want us to know how much we're wasting, because they're wasting a ton.
That's right. It's like
I mean,
tomorrow is supposed to be this big celebration, and the bobbleheads are all telling America and everybody on the networks that it's the 1 year anniversary of the war in Ukraine. No, it's the 13th year of the
yeah,
war.
they've been battling forever.
No, but he invaded them in 2012 when Biden was vice president with
Hmm.
Obama. So
Yeah,
this war has been going on for 13 years. I get every time I hear it's a 1 year celebration. No, it's 13th year.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
where are the again misdirection because
Oh
got
yeah.
it. You change the
Mhm.
subject over here because if you told people it was the 13th year, they'd go what?
Yeah.
But just 1 year is okay because we've only spent 500 billion or whatever it is
Yeah,
in
well,
1 year.
we've only been in it a year, so
Yeah, yeah,
that's why it doesn't the previous doesn't count,
yeah. Of course,
or whatever. But anyway,
blankets and food aren't important.
no, 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 Not at all. So,
No, but they cost the same as a toilet seat for
yeah,
in
from one
a
of the rockets. Yeah,
yeah, for one of the yeah, one of the rockets spaceships. Remember that?
yeah, right.
Remember
Yeah, yeah.
about that in the
20,000
'60s?
for a hammer, 30,000 for a toilet seat. Yeah, that's
64, 65, NASA.
yeah, that's
You
where the
know,
money comes from. So,
they had 400,000 people and an unlimited budget to get to the moon.
yeah.
Well, they got there.
All right. I don't know if we've solved anything today, but at least we've enlightened you as to where the money comes from, where it goes, and who's
That's right.
wasting it, or at least some of the
Then
people are wasting
that's
it.
right.
So don't
So
forget to subscribe. Absolutely subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Ring that notification bell. We're going to move to 5 p.m. on Friday, or on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I should say, 5 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to try a different time slot, see if that's more attractive to some people. So keep that in mind, that we'll be on there. And also we're on radio. Wow, what do you think? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, the award-winning Tom and Shane live on radio every Saturday, 8 to 11 Mountain Time. Listen live, KMMS AM.
are we cool?
Anywhere in the world.
I mean, we're
We're everywhere.
seriously cool.
We're
Yeah.
everywhere. We're cooler than the other side of the pillow. That's what we are. So click listen live. That's all you got to do, or listen now. Nothing to join. You don't have to leave any information. There's no payment of any kind. You can text us. You can call us. It is amazing.
And you can call in. You
can call in.
anywhere from the world.
You can text in.
Yeah.
Man, it's an amazing.
And you can text. You can text
Yeah.
the Eagle Man.
Absolutely. Call, text, whatever. So that's pretty good. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for us. So thanks for watching, everybody. And we will see you on our next podcast, which will be Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time.